There comes a moment in every person's life when the gap between who they are and who they want to be feels impossibly wide. In those moments, the mind starts whispering excuses, the body resists, and emotions take control. You wake up with a plan, a vision, a mission to execute, but then the feelings arrive. The feelings of fatigue, doubt, laziness, fear, distraction, and even comfort. And this is where most people lose the battle, not because they didn't have a plan, not because they weren't capable, but because they surrendered to their feelings instead of staying true to the path they had mapped out. But what if you made a vow today to yourself? A vow that says, no matter how I feel, I will follow the plan. No matter what storms rage within me, I will not betray my own discipline. That vow is the difference between living as a prisoner of emotion or living as a master of destiny. Following the plan, ignoring the feelings. This is the art of discipline, and discipline is the bridge that carries you across the river of chaos to the island of transformation. You see, feelings are temporary. They rise and fall like waves in the ocean. Today you feel unstoppable. Tomorrow you feel tired. Today you feel inspired. Tomorrow you feel unmotivated. If you live according to feelings, you live like a leaf in the wind, blown in every direction with no control, no stability, no direction. But when you live according to a plan, you create structure, order, and stability. The plan becomes your compass, your anchor, and your guide. Imagine this. A farmer plants a seed. Every morning he feels differently. Some days he feels enthusiastic about watering it. Other days he feels lazy. But if he chooses to act only on the days he feels motivated, the seed will wither and die. It is not emotion that grows the seed, it is consistent action. Discipline is the water. The plan is the soil. And the harvest is the reward for those who stay committed even when they don't feel like it. Ask yourself right now, how many times have you abandoned something important because your feelings got in the way? How many workouts have you skipped because you didn't feel like it? How many opportunities have you let slip because you felt unprepared, anxious, or afraid? How many dreams have you delayed because you waited to feel ready? The truth is, you will never always feel ready. You will never always feel motivated. But the plan doesn't care about your feelings. The plan waits for your action, not your mood. Discipline means showing up whether you feel like it or not. The soldier doesn't wait until he feels brave to go into battle. The athlete doesn't wait until she feels motivated to train. The artist doesn't wait until he feels inspired to create. They show up, they honor the plan, and in showing up, they create momentum. And momentum, once it begins, has the power to crush resistance. Think about this. The mind is like a wild horse. If you let it run wherever it wants, it will throw you off. But if you harness it with discipline, if you give it direction and structure, it will carry you to great distances. Your plan is the reins. Your willpower is the grip. And your feelings? They are just the noise in the background. You don't need to silence them. You simply need to stop obeying them. There is a simple truth. Feelings are not facts. You may feel weak, but that does not mean you are weak. You may feel hopeless, but that does not mean there is no hope. You may feel like quitting, but that does not mean you should quit. Feelings are temporary weather, but the plan is the climate you choose to create. A storm may pass through, but if your foundation is strong, you will remain standing. Now let's go deeper. Why is following the plan so powerful? Because it builds consistency, and consistency is the foundation of transformation. Think about a sculptor carving a statue. Each strike of the hammer is small, almost insignificant on its own. But strike after strike, day after day, the shapeless stone becomes a masterpiece. Discipline is that hammer. The plan is the design. And your life is the stone waiting to be carved. But if you strike only when you feel like it, the stone will remain unfinished. The danger of feelings is that they seduce you into inconsistency. One day you're all in, the next day you're checked out. One day you push forward, the next day you retreat. And that back and forth is the death of progress. But when you follow the plan regardless of how you feel, you break free from that cycle. You step into a rhythm that builds momentum, and momentum is the invisible force that makes success feel inevitable. Picture this. Every morning you wake up and you know exactly what to do. The plan is there. You don't negotiate with yourself, you don't argue with your feelings, you simply execute. At first it feels hard, like pushing a heavy rock uphill. But day after day it becomes easier. Why? Because consistency turns discipline into habit. And once it's a habit, it takes less effort to keep going than it does to stop. That's the power of following the plan. But let's be real. There will be resistance. Your feelings will scream at you. Stay in bed. Skip the workout. Delay the work. Take it easy. You deserve a break. And sometimes, yes, rest is necessary. But most of the time, these voices are not signals of true exhaustion. They are the tricks of comfort, the whispers of mediocrity, trying to lure you back into the safety of the ordinary. And if you listen to those voices too often, you will never step into your extraordinary. So what do? You learn to detach. You observe the feelings without obeying them. You say to yourself, I hear you, but I do not serve you. I serve the plan. You let the feelings rise and fall, but your actions remain unmoved. Like a mountain that stands tall regardless of the weather, you remain grounded in your discipline. Rain or shine, storm or calm, you follow the plan. That is mastery. Life does not reward the person who feels like it. Life rewards the person who does it. The one who trains when no one is watching. The one who studies when everyone else is distracted. The one who shows up when it is hardest to show up. That is where greatness is born, not in the moments of excitement, but in the moments of resistance. Remember this. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Motivation is like a spark, but discipline is the firewood that keeps the flame alive. If you rely only on motivation, your fire will burn out. But if you rely on discipline, you will always have fuel. Following the plan means you never let the fire die, no matter how cold the night becomes. And here's the paradox. The more you follow the plan, the less power your feelings have. Each time you choose discipline over emotion, you strengthen your willpower. You build resilience. You rewire your brain to act on intention instead of impulse. Slowly, your identity shifts. You no longer see yourself as someone who gives up when it's hard. You see yourself as someone who finishes what they start. And that identity becomes unshakable. Ask yourself, who do you want to be? The person who is a slave to their feelings? Or the person who is a master of their destiny? Do you want to look back years from now and see a trail of abandoned plans, half-built dreams, and wasted potential? Or do you want to look back and see a life of discipline, achievement, and transformation? The answer lies in whether you choose to follow the plan or follow the feelings. Every day, you are writing your story. Each action, each decision, each moment is a sentence in the book of your life. If you let your feelings dictate the story, it will be scattered and unfinished. But if you let the plan guide your hand, you will write a story of discipline, resilience, and triumph. And when people read that story, they will not see someone who always felt good. They will see someone who always acted with purpose. So today, commit to this. No matter how I feel, I will follow the plan. No matter what doubts, fears, or excuses arise, I will not betray my discipline. My feelings do not define me. My actions do. My emotions may shift, but my plan remains steady. I will water the seed every day. I will carve the stone strike by strike. I will show up again and again until the masterpiece of my life is revealed. This is not easy. It requires courage. It requires patience. It requires faith in the unseen. But it is worth it. Because when you live this way, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop being at the mercy of your moods. You take control. You become unshakable. And in time, something extraordinary happens. The feelings that once tried to hold you back begin to align with the discipline you have built. The resistance weakens. The excuses fade. And suddenly, the thing you once had to force yourself to do becomes the thing you cannot imagine living without. That is when you know you have transformed. That is when you know you have become unstoppable. So remember this truth. Follow the plan, ignore the feelings. Your discipline is stronger than your doubt. Your consistency is stronger than your excuses. And your destiny is greater than your emotions. Walk the path with clarity, with intention, with unshakable discipline. Because the future belongs to those who follow the plan, no matter how they feel.